What's good, YouTube? This is the only big green Yugioh, and I'm back again with another deck profile. This deck profile is going to be of Tele-Dad for, obviously, Tele-Dad format, which was the September 2008 ban list. Starting off, 2 Dark Arm Dragons. Obviously, this is the dad part and Tele-Dad. This card was just so overpowering back then, and essentially, if you dropped it and the summon went through, you was probably going to be winning that game to begin with. Onto the Tele part of the deck. Krebons, Psychic Tuner Monster, level 2. There was obviously emergency teleport. You would summon this thing out from your deck or even from your hand. But obviously, most likely from your deck. It would suck if you draw it. And it would just rack up free synchro plays with stuff like Malicious or things like Dark Grepher that can summon themselves from the hand for free. You can essentially go off and make crazy synchro plays without even having to use your normal summon. And this was your main target with E-Tele. And then for the other tuner of the deck, 1 Plague Spreader Zombie. Again, you can easily make synchros in this deck without even having to take your normal summon. If this guy's like in your grave and you have something like a Dark Grepher or a Mally in the grave, you can just start racking up synchros off of it. Onto the Elemental Hero, or not really Elemental Hero, just the Hero engine in general. More of a Destiny hero than anything, but 1 Elemental Hero Stratos. Typically, you'd use him to add to hand something like a Malicious that you can discard away for Destiny draw and then start racking up your plays from there. But he also, of course, has the Spell Trap Destruction effect. Speaking of Malicious, triple Malicious. Malicious, when he's in the graveyard, you can banish him to special summon another Malicious from your deck. So going back to like Krebons being able to be E-Tele'd out from the deck, you can banish this guy, get one from your deck, special summon Krebons, or if you have it normal summon like a tuner, and basically just get a free synchro that way. 2 Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. Obviously, Diamond Dude has his effect that lets you basically get the top card of your deck, and if it's a spell card, it goes to the grave, and then you can activate it during your next turn. He's mainly also here just because he's another Destiny hero name and probably the best Destiny hero to play at this point in the game other than Malicious. Obviously, another ruling with Diamond Dude, if one of the spells you hit is something like, let's say, Destiny Draw, for example, it's basically a Pot of Greed. You don't have to pay the cost for spells that you mill, which is absolutely insane if you do hit something like a Destiny Draw off of this card, because you're no longer discarding a Destiny hero monster. You're just going to be basically Pot of Greeding. The last Destiny hero of the deck, or slash hero card in general of the deck, Doomlord. He lets you banish a guy, but you can't attack like that turn. So he's just good at getting around stuff like Stardust, and then you can go off like destroy stuff on their side of the field, or just in general clearing a big monster for a bit. 1 Dark Grepher, I mentioned his name already. This guy's really good for the deck because if you have a Mally in your hand and no D-Draw, you can pitch the Mally to special summon Dark Grepher, and if you have like a tuner, you can then normal summon that tuner and sync. Or if you have like another Dark in your hand, he essentially is a 1-card synchro. You can pitch that Dark, send a Grave Plague Spreader from your deck, and then bring back Plague with its effect and then synchro into a level 6. Breaker the Magical Warrior, obviously get the counter, and then he's 1900 beat stick with the counter, and you can remove the counter, destroy a spell or trap. 1 Spirit Reaper, just real annoying to deal with. Basically force the opponent to have to go into something like a Red Dragon Archfiend, or obviously like targeting cards to remove it. Sangan, letting you search for any card or any monster that's 1500 or less attack. So like grabbing Plague Spreader off of it, Krebons, or even like a Spirit Reaper if you're needing to stall out for a bit. And then the last monster in the deck, the 1 of Kai's, just an insane tribute monster. A good way of outing Stardust in this format if you can't beat over it by battle. Tribute for Kai's and then banish it. Other monsters that you could play in this deck that I don't play is Destiny Hero Plasma, obviously. You could play Gores, the Emissary of Darkness, and Armageddon Knight. Those are like some other options that you can play in here, or even play like multiple Plague Spreaders. Onto the spells. Triple Emergency Teleport. Emergency Teleport, letting you special summon out your Krebons from deck, but it's banished at the end of the turn. Or you can even special summon it from your hand. Triple Destiny Draw, discard a Destiny hero monster, draw 2 cards. Triple Lure of Darkness, draw 2 cards, then banish a dark monster from your hand. Reinforcement of the Army, typically you're going to grab Stratos off of this, or if you're needing that quick synchro play, you can grab Dark Grepher and then do the little combo I was talking about. You get a free synchro. 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Heavy, 1 MST, and then 1 Book of Moon for the power spells. Onto the traps. Triple Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment was a card that you definitely needed to play in almost every deck that you could play it in. Card was just way too good. And it's very crucial in matchups where, like, especially like in the mirror match, if they drop a dad on you, or if they trying to go into something like a Stardust, or like even a Yugioh Guardian. 1 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. This is another card that you can play as a 2 of if you want to, or even 3, just cause if Mally's dead in your hand, you can ditch Mally with this card, or ditch Plague Spreader with this card, and then basically spin something back to the top of the deck. And then on to like the big power trap cards, as I would like to call them. Trap Dust Shoot, getting to rip a card out of your opponent's deck, or out of your opponent's hand. And then Royal Oppression, obviously, it's in the name. This is like one of the most oppressive cards, at least in my opinion, in this game's history. I cannot stand this card, but it's so good. You've got to play it. And then Crush Card Virus, which I've mentioned in my other Tele-Dad deck profiles. Crush Card Virus plus Sangan is typically the auto win button. You see these 2 guys, and not very much the opponent can do. I can only recall on 1 occasion where I've like actually been able to play through a Sangan Crush card, and it wasn't even with this deck. It was with a stun control deck that I came up with. So obviously I can play through it with that because I'm not playing big beaters to begin with. But that's like the only time I've ever played through a Crush card Sangan. Every other time I've lost. Onto the synchros that you can play. I mainly just have a huge synchro deck or a huge extra deck to let my opponent pick through. But Magical Android is literally like the only relevant level 5 of the format. Yugioh Guardian is the best level 6 by far of the format. Tempest Magician is really only good in like Light Sworns or in Zombie Sworns, or like just gimmick decks to begin with, to FTK. So in this deck you probably don't need it. Iron Chain Dragon, I'm going to be honest, completely sucks. You would only ever go into this guy to rank, or not rank up, but to XCs into a level 8. Doom Kaiser Dragon, you have Plague Spreader, but you probably wouldn't really play it. Unless if like for a zombie. If you're running into like a lot of zombie decks or like zombie variant decks, then this card is like insane against those. But if you're typically facing like the mirror matches or stuff like Lightsworn, it's not really needed. Revived King Hadez, again, unless if you're facing weird matchups like some sort of stun matchup or something, you probably don't need it. And then Black Rose Dragon, definitely you need at least 2 to 3 of this card. This is the best level 7 of the format. Psychic Life Transfer, I also really like this girl, but if you play her, I would typically only play 1. Avenge Knight, Parshath, you can't really make it because of you needing like the non-light tuner. Only way you can really make this is like in the Lightsworn matchup if you brain control a Lightsworn and go into it. Obviously, Stardust, because it's Stardust. And then Red Dragon Archfiend. Colossal Fighter, which is another like amazing card, especially for this deck because all of your Destiny Hero guys being warriors, he gets that boost from them. Thought Ruler Archfiend. And then another card that I definitely would recommend at least playing 1 of in your extra decks would be Geyserus, because Brain Control plus Monster Reborn up against Glad Beast is like a win button again. Just beating them with their own guys. But yeah, I would definitely recommend playing at least 1 Geyserus in all of your extra deck, like fitting it somewheres. Or again, going back, like maybe even fitting Doom Kaiser Dragon. If you're going to tech, if you have like any flex rooms in your extra deck, these 2 would probably be your flex spots, especially Geysers. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. This is the only bigger in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm signing out.